Having me. I'm humbled anytime anybody asks me to do that, which I think I've been put on this earth to do, because 17, 18, 19 years ago, no one made a dollar bet that Calvin Mack would be standing before anybody, speaking about anything, let alone inspiration and motivation at an auspicious event like this. This is life coming full circle. I'm a teacher, and the greatest reward for a teacher is to one day have their students say, "You did this for me." Thank you, brother. I can die now. Oh, hear me out, I can die now. Because I know that I've touched at least one life. I'd like to say thank you to Rod and to Eugene and Eric again for having breakfast for me in the morning. Now, I saw a lot of you all last night down in the lobby having libations. I don't like to hang out with the people that I'm going to speak to the next day because you all may have a different opinion of me. But you didn't know me, but I saw you. And I will cozy it up right there next to the bar, listening to all the conversation. Like your grandma said, you never know who's around you. I'd like to say thank you to New York Life for having a $50 billion commitment, empowerment commitment. To do anything first and foremost, you got to put a stake in the ground, set a goal, something to go for, something to shoot for, and say we're gonna do that. 50 billion, that's a lot of dollars. That's a whole lot of numbers. Some of us can't even wrap our mind around that. Ted Turner said you're supposed to have dreams so big such that you would have to die and come back just to achieve them. All right, 50 billion, a goal such that we got to die and come back to achievement? Or do we believe that the people in this room can achieve that? As a community, we've got $1 trillion spending, consumer spending ability. 50 billion is easy. That's not a dream. Like I said, if y'all say we're going to create a $1 trillion empowerment goal, 50 billion is big. And I believe that we can get there. I'd like to say thank you for all that you all do, bringing the knowledge and wisdom and insight to people who otherwise may not know it. You all are dealing with a lot of people who are otherwise ignorant to what you have to offer. So therefore, you got to do what Mr. Sam said. You got to practice, professionals practice. A lot of problems that I have with a lot of my professional friends is that the last time they read a book was when they were in college. A lot of problems I have with a lot of my professional friends that I go talk to them, and they're accountants, they're lawyers, and I know more than they know. They get intimidated by me. And I'm asking them basic questions about their industry. My motto, young lady, is never without a book. I'm always reading. I'm always reading. When you get on the airplane and you go through first class, because that's how I fly. Now, New York Life didn't fly me first class. That's called 2 million mile on Delta and upgrade. When you get on the airplane, look like everybody in first class has a book. You go into coach and look like everybody reading People magazine and What's Up magazine, but the people in first class, they have they say the bigger the house, the bigger the library. The smaller the house, the bigger the TV. So I go to Best Buy during the holiday season just watching the people buying the big TVs. I turn on TV during the holiday season to see what people lined up outside of Best Buy and other places, see who's gonna get in there first so they can get their 60-inch TV. I go to Super Bowl parties and I determine whether or not I'm gonna come back to that Super Bowl party based on the size of the TV and the number of the books in the house. Brother, show me your library. Oh, Mackie, you know, dog. But look at the TV, bro. I got some round sound. I got the studio. I got the theater, dog. Get you some chips in a red cup, bro. I go get my red cup. And I know this is not where I need to be. See, I spent a lot of time saying thank you because it seemed like we've been able to raise an entire generation of young people. Also, I want to say thank you to Sam. Thank you for the information and the wisdom that you gave out. If nobody got anything from that, I got it from you. I love to be poured into. See, this thing called life is like a tea kettle. Somebody once told me, they said, Mackie, you the tea kettle. You always pouring. You always pouring. But the question is, who are pouring into you? And if you're the tea kettle and you're always pouring and nobody pouring into you, then eventually the tea kettle is going to become empty. So, brother, you poured into me today. Thank you. He gave you all some great information. I spent a lot of time saying thank you because it seemed like we've been able to raise an entire generation of young people who don't know the meaning of words like thank you, excuse me, hard work, sacrifice, persistence, and Ron. I don't want to be confused with them because my mother raised me differently. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right, I'm going to wake y'all up. See, my name is Calvin Mackie, and I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm from back of town, Gert Town, Zion City. I'm from that lower 9 where we don't mind dying. I'm from that Wild Magnolia. I thought I told you, I'm from that CP3. You know me. So start acting like a pair of brand new shoes. Don't let this smooth suit fool you. See, I'm the people that you're trying to talk to. And you know, in a couple of caveats, before I get started, a couple of caveats I got to give out. My beautiful wife, Tracy, happens to be a pharmacist. She's a pharmacist, and she believes that I'm ADD and I've never been treated before. So there's no way I can do this thing like most people do it and stand at the podium. If you read my bio, you probably say, what this brother gonna tell us? He got some video teaching kids STEM. What are you gonna tell us? I know y'all thinking. I know my people. I know what y'all thinking. I know he's gonna get up there with all that intellectualism. Hi, my name is Dr. Mackie, and this is good to be here. And I'm tired of them fools too. Nah, that's not who I am. No, my beautiful wife, this is you know, I'm ADD, so I gotta keep moving. And moreover, one of my mentors, I used to always see him, I say, Dr. J, every time I see you, you're on the move. He said, look here, Brother Mackie, always keep moving. I said, why, Doc? He said, because when they come after you, they only can come back to where you were. Come on. You gotta keep moving. Some of y'all keep going back to the same place. Trying to sell to the same people at the same place with the same sorry speech that you had 2 weeks ago. In the same drinking hole, in the same restaurant, in the same fraternity, in the same sorority, in the same little group. Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. You got to keep moving. People say, Mackie, why are you on the board of chamber? I said, why not? The chamber about money. They said, Mackie, why are you on the mayor's transition team? I got a saying that says, if you ain't at the table, you're on the menu. Some of us ain't at the table and wondering why we on the menu. If they cutting up $1 billion in a room and you ain't at the table, I bet your brother Robin ain't gonna say, oh, you know what? Sam ain't in here, let's cut him some out. Mr. Bradford said, you gotta get to your people before the competitor do. So if you ain't at the table, you're on the menu and you getting cut up. And you coming in there late, trying to sell something that people have already bought. That's amazing. So we got to keep this thing moving. We got to understand why we're here. And it's funny, you know, I always talk about, you know, hope. And we ended the previous session with this thing called hope. And some of us got this thing called hope all confused. Caveat, my last caveat, don't confuse my passion with anger. Everywhere I go around the country, I've sat down, I've spoken with 5 countries. I've spoken before every president since Jimmy Carter, sans Ronald Reagan. I mean, everywhere I go now. I was just at General Electric speaking. It was me, Jeff M. Melt, and Al Sharpton. Now that's gangster. And when I got off the stage for the African American Forum at General Electric, I knew Jeff M. Melt's eyes was this big. And I knew what Jeff M. Melt was thinking when I got off the stage. Jeff M. Melt was probably saying, that's an angry young black man right there. So don't confuse my passion with anger. I thought I only used to have to say that in front of other audiences, but now I realize I even have to say it in front of black people. Come on. Because some of us just so sensitive. Just sensitive. See, James Baldwin said, you know, I'm not angry, I'm passionate. When we start talking about our people, our future, when we start talking about creating a legacy, I am passionate. I ain't angry, I'm just passionate. But you look at our conditions, look at our community, look at our children, look like somebody should be angry, look like somebody should be marching in the street, look like somebody should be screaming, but I'm not angry, I'm just passionate. And that's what we need right here at New York Life. We need y'all to be passionate about this thing called a $50 billion African American empowerment movement. If you're passionate about it, then you one of my young friends, one of my young mentees called me the other day, and he said, Doc, my passion got me up this morning. I said, young brother, my passion kept me up all night. Sleep is overrated. I'll sleep when I die. When you're passionate about something. And James Baldwin said, a passion is unfriendly. He said, a passion is arrogant. He said, a passion is contemptuous of all which is not itself. More importantly, he said, a passion contains a challenge and it contains an unspeakable hope. So 2 things. Today I will challenge you. If you don't want to be challenged, exit left right now. Right. 2, but I refuse to leave you with an unspeakable hope. And we confused this thing called hope. See, when they was playing that video and y'all got misty eyes back there, and I saw somebody like, oh, that's R. Kelly, oh, that ain't that's great. Hope ain't something soft. Hope is something real. I got a friend named Dr. Troop, and Dr. Troop said, Brother Mackie, he said, Brother Mackie, when you lose money, you've lost a little. He said, when you lose a friend, you've lost a lot. He said, when you lost hope, you've lost it. Oh. And many of the people that you are dealing with, when you look in your eyes, you're trying to sell them their legacy and their future so they can help their children. When you look in their eyes, it looks like they've lost it because they have no hope. If they don't have any hope for themselves, how can they have any hope for their children? And if you don't have any hope for yourself, how can you sell hope to others? This thing called hope. See, in order for us to win, for order for us to achieve, in order for us to get to $50 billion, you got to go from despair down a street called hope to achievement. We want everybody to be hopeful. See, we just want everybody to be hopeful. We want to come in, and there's 1,000 people, and everybody understand what we're doing. They understand this is very important, and we sell it to them, they buy them, and we win, without realizing that most people are in despair. They're ignorant. And that's historically. If you go to Tuskegee, and I'm telling Eugene this morning, there's a statue in front of Tuskegee of Booker T. Washington, and he's removing a veil of ignorance off the eye of the young man. And that's what your job is. That's what your mission is. Many of the people that you sit down with, many of your middle-class friends with college educations, you're going to have to pull back the veil of ignorance from over their eyes. Because they wear the mask that they know and don't know jack. The only thing they know is they got a job and a check coming in, and they probably spent all their money on stuff they don't need anyway. I said it, I'm in it, and I'm here to represent it. This thing called hope is real. And we're like, oh, Mackie, you talking about that hope? There you go. Somebody ran for president, used the word hope. Now, hope, a 4-letter word. Everybody mad with hope. Hope ain't do you nothing. Hope is the only thing that took us from where we were, that got us to where we are, and hope is the only thing that's going to take us to where we need to be. I'm talking about the hope that caused the old lady to sit down and caused the nation to stand up. I'm talking about the hope that made Tuskegee Airmen believe that they could fly airplanes when their own government told them they couldn't. I'm talking about the hope that made George Washington call to do with a peanut 100 years ago that Harvard PhDs still cannot do today. I'm talking about the hope that turned Detroit Red into Malcolm X. I'm talking about the hope that turned crackheads into teachers and pimps into preachers. I'm talking about the hope that made John F. Kennedy say, don't ask what your nation can do for you, ask what you can do for your nation. I'm talking about the hope, even Patrick Henry, I'm talking about the hope that Patrick Henry expressed. And Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me, oh, we understand it. That thing we don't understand is life. Black Lives Matter. I'm talking about hope that made our founding fathers right. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I'm talking about the hope that made Ronald Reagan, when he talked about the shining city on the hill, he said, yes, indeed, just today, we're the last hope for man on earth. I'm talking about hope. When George W., my friend, when W said in his second term, when he was running for his second term, his stump speech was the duty of hope. I'm talking about the hope that took a black preacher in Alabama and made him believe that he can have a dream to change the world. Martin Luther King wasn't killed because he had a dream. Martin Luther King was killed because he got up every day and tried to make his dream. I'm talking about the hope that took a black man to jail for 27 years in South Africa, and he came out a world leader. I'm talking about the hope that took a black boy with a white mom and a goat-herding daddy and made him believe he can be president. A whole lot of people said, no, you can't. But a nation called America said, yes, you can. And let me tell you something. Hope is that little voice in your head that whispers maybe when the whole world is screaming no. And I don't know about you, but people tell me no all the time. Will you buy my product? No. Can I sell you some insurance? No. Can we go here? No. Can we go out on a date? No. I don't know about you. I don't know about you. But sometimes I think my name is no. But New York Life, we're here today because we're telling you, yes. Y'all just need one. Yes. Everywhere you go, you're looking for? Yes. That may be no, that may be no, and that may be no, but that will be? Yes. And when you get that yes, you celebrate. Yes. And you go. Because you have won. And the only thing that can keep you going and believing in that is this thing called hope. When the world screams no, hope screams maybe. If you don't have hope when the world screams no, you quit. And when we understand what this thing is about, I was talking to Rod this morning, when we understand what this thing is about, we will understand why we got to get up every day and make this dream, make this conviction come true. A man becomes immortal 3 ways. A man becomes immortal 1 or more of only 3 ways. A man becomes immortal through his written word. I've written 2 books. My dad dropped out of school in 8th grade to pick cotton. My mother went to a state-approved Negro high school. My mom and dad both died functionally illiterate. But 8 generations from now, my children can go to the Library of Congress and read about their great-great-great-great-grandfather. My mother died. 1994, I watched my mama die in my daddy's house and watched my daddy die in my house. 51 years old, at 10 days to 51 of breast cancer, I watched my mother die. So that means my 2 sons, they'll never know their grandmother. So I put in words that the wisdom that their grandmother taught me, such that one day they can know the wisdom that their grandmother taught their daddy, such that they can teach their children, such that they can teach their children. So now my mom and my dad are immortal because our children can go to the Library of Congress and know their lineage, their history. Second way a man become immortal, through his works. A man or woman can do something so great such that people can come back and see you did. As a matter of fact, my friend Dr. Naeem Agbar said a man or woman is supposed to do something so great such that their children can come back and say, look what my mama did, look what my daddy did. Somewhere else is written that a good man is supposed to leave an inheritance to his children. The third way a man becomes immortal is through his children. Where's the sister say, I want this for my children? But she was asking that question. Right there. Your children. Third way is becoming immortal is through your children. I can sell anybody anything when I break it down to them like that. This ain't about you. This is about your children. And the last thing a mother want to know is that her child, last thing a mother or father want to know, mostly mothers definitely don't want to know, is that another child is getting something that their child's not getting. See, this thing is about life. We got 2 choices. Somewhere it's written that life and death lives in the tongue. So everything come out your mouth, either give life or give. Yeah. So every choice you make is about life. Yeah. So I call this the 3 levels of living. There's only 3 things you can give your children. Now, mine not was given to you, but there's only 3 things you can give your children. You can give them life. And I go to jail and I talk to young men. And they say, look, man, my daughter, my son, when you see him, tell him this. Say, yeah, you gave him the first L. You gave him life. That's all you done, sucker. Because point number 2, the second thing you're supposed to give your children is leadership. Lead or ship. Lead or get the hell out the way. So how you going to give your child leadership and you in here? So after you give our children life, after you give them leadership, the third thing we're supposed to give them before we die is what? Legacy. And what's legacy? Legacy can be a good name. Legacy can be a good credit score. But legacy can be a head start. Just that whenever they get ready to take on the world, they can say, look what my daddy did. Look what my mama did. And then you can live from the grave. Because see, in all this, there's 3 levels of living that I call it. Because see, our goal got to be is to get from survival to get to success. And that's why most of us get stuck. That's why Sam got to say things like professionals practice, because many of us are just happy with being successful without understanding that there's another level to this thing. And that's why many of us just so adamant about defending Beyonce and Jay-Z and all the rest of these clowns and all their foolishness and blowing the money that they blow when they can empower entire communities, because we don't understand that there's another level to this thing, because we think we're supposed to get from survival to success, and once we're successful, that's it. Understood there's another level to this thing, then we'll be pushing them and hoping and praying that they do something such that they can get to the next level, such that people can understand what that is, so all of us can aspire to be there. See, brother, you got to go from survival. Now, if you go from survival, you get your education, you get your training, you build your business, whatever, to become successful. But the third level of existence is significance. We got to get from survival to success, and then we got to get from success to significance. And that's why you can go in certain communities and you see people with their name on buildings, because they realize, first, I was a boy, and as a boy I had to become a man. And, you know, first level of manhood is maleness, being in a position to take care of myself. That's what your parents want to do. Maybe I want to get you in a position so you can take care of yourself. And then fatherhood or motherhood, you get to a position where you not only can take care of yourself, but you can take care of those that you're responsible for. But what we don't understand about this thing called significance is that there's another level called chiefhood. I'm in a position where I can take care of me. Now I'm in a position where I can take care of me and those that I'm responsible for. But chiefhood, you get to a position where you can take care of the entire community, people that you don't even know, such that if you die, the world will know your name. You may not ever say nothing bad about LeBron James anymore. I don't care if he never dunk another basketball. I don't care if he tears ACL up tomorrow and can't play. LeBron has gone from being successful to being significant when he took $40 million and said, I'm going to pay tuition for kids that I don't even know. You got to convince the people that you're talking to them, because you want to put them in a position such that their children, their grandchildren that they will never even know, will know that one day that they lived. And we understand that. We understand that this thing needs your conviction, that you got to run after it every day. See, I went to Ghana a couple of years ago. Never forget it, 1998. My mentor, Dr. Morris F.X. Jeff, said, look, Kelvin, we got to go home. I said, man, look, I am home. I'm from that lower 9. I'm from that Selma ward. I'm a Selma ward hard head. He said, no, Kelvin, we got to go home. I said, Dr. Jeff, this is home. Dr. Jeff said, no, Kelvin, home is the Gold Coast of Africa, the West Coast of Africa, Ghana, West Africa. That's home, Kelvin. And he put me on his shoulders, and we flew over to Ghana. When we got to Ghana, when I got off the plane, it was like I was having a spiritual renewal, because they explained to me that 80% of the Africans that was taken out of Africa as slaves and came to America came from the Gold Coast of Africa, the West Coast of Africa. And why in Africa had the opportunity to go and visit the Elmina Castle. The Elmina Castle was the first castle built in sub-Saharan Africa by the Portuguese and the Dutch to trade the dead yellow gold with the living black Africans. But eventually they stopped trading the dead yellow gold and they began to trade the living black Africans. And the opportunity to go into the room of no return, such that when the African went in the door, he or she knew that they'd never see their mother, never see their father, never see their homeland again. And ignorantly I asked, I said, why is this door so narrow? They said, Calvin, the door is narrow because they used to starve the Africans before they put them on the ships such they wouldn't have the strength to fight back. Now I was overcome by the Spirit. In Eugene, I ran outside the castle, and I stood on the coast of Accra, overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, where they estimate nearly 50 to 75 million Africans have to perish, such that people like ourselves could be here in the Americas, in the Caribbean, doing the things that we're doing. Still to this day, if you study the shark patterns, still to this day, the sharks follow the same patterns that the ships took nearly 400 years ago due to the large number of bodies that were disposed off the ship. And I stood there with my hands on my head, thinking about when I came up in school, my third grade teacher, my middle school teacher said, Calvin, every day in Africa, a lion awakens and realizes that he must outrun the slowest gazelle or he shall starve. She said, Calvin, also every morning in Africa, a gazelle awakens and realizes that he must outrun the fastest lion or he shall be eaten. She said, Calvin, the moral of the story is when you wake up in Africa, Europe, South America, New Orleans, California, Miami. She said, Calvin, when the sun comes up, you better wake up running. New York life, we got to get up every day and we got to run. You got to run towards this $50 million empowerment goal every day. You got to be intentional, you got to be consistent. This got to be on the end of your nose every day. If it's not on the nose, if it's not on your end of your nose every day, then you just in here playing. Now, never forget when I came from Africa, and I came back to City of New Orleans, and I was sitting in front of my big screen television, and I was watching the TV, and I was watching the Discovery Channel. I don't know about you, but I love the Discovery Channel. The dirtiest job, the deadliest job, bro. Eric, I love the Discovery Channel. And I was watching the Discovery Channel. The Discovery Channel taught me something that blew my mind. Discovery Channel taught me that the lion hates the cheetah. I said, why would the lion have hate in his heart, anger in his heart, fear in his heart versus another animal, and God has ordained the lion to have dominion over the jungle? Why are you hating on the cheetah? And the Discovery Channel taught me that the lion hates the cheetah because the lion realized that although he's the king and the master hunter, the lion realizes that if he runs, chase, and grab the meat, he realizes that the cheetah is faster than him. So he hates the cheetah because the cheetah is faster than him. The lion said, but the cheetah said, no. Lion, I may outrun you. The lion hates the cheetah, so the cheetah said, look, lion, you may outrun me to the meat. But the cheetah said, God has ordained me with superpower, not only superpower speed, but my God has ordained me with superpower strength, Mr. Lion, such that after I run you to the meat, I'm not worried about you eating me in the meat, because lion, you see my God has ordained me with superpower speed, such that after I run you with superpower strength, such that after I get to the meat, I can take myself and my meat and I can climb a tree and perch myself up in a tree where you cannot get me, Mr. Lion. So the lion hates the cheetah. If you don't believe me, y'all looking at me like I'm crazy, you go to www.discovery.com and you rent this video, Big Cats. And this is what it'll teach you. It'll teach you every morning in Africa when a lion goes out to hunt. And he comes across his little bed of cheetah cubs, little baby cheetahs, he kills them. He doesn't even eat them. He kills them. Now, New York life, the moral to the story is this: from one cheetah cub to the next. From one cheetah cub to the next, Justin. We cannot allow the lions in our lives to kill us before we can grow up and compete. Many of us have been allowed to sit before computers, go to schools, and do things that our mothers and our fathers and our ancestors before us has never had the ability to do. But you better believe every day in America, when you get up every morning and have this big dream and try to do something great, there will be lions waiting to destroy you. And everybody want to go to war. Let's go to war. Let's do this. Everybody want to go to war, but everybody won't call out the enemy. We want to go fight, but we won't call out the enemy. What are the lions killing us? One of the lions that's killing our community is financial illiteracy. Financial illiteracy. We just don't know. And now we're living in a world of consumerism, and I'm judged based on how I look and what I have. So if I got to get everything so everybody can think that I am balling. And then we see people with a whole lot of money that should be growing the community. We even defend them in their foolishness because we wish that we were. Yeah. So if you're going to sell financial literacy, if you're going to sell instruments such that they empower people to change their lives, when you walk in, you got to make me believe that it's already changing your life. I never forget a guy come trying to sell me a financial instrument. My wife and I are sitting there, and I got 4 degrees, she got 2, and we're talking, and he's taking our financial information, and he would not believe. He said, so how much debt do you have? 0. I said, no, I mean debt. Debt is mortgage, 0. College, like college loans, debt too, 0. But debt, Mackie, is like cars, 0. Right there, he was fired. Because no, that told me I didn't have debt, and guess who had debt? He did. And more importantly, he was fired because he did not believe in you. I realized then I didn't need him. He needed me. I was about to invite him back tomorrow. Maybe I can consult you. Come on. True story. I can't make this stuff up. See him all the time right now. How you doing, bro? How that debt going for you? This thing is about life and death. And we're going to live or we're going to die. In a capitalistic system, you better have you some capital. And it's not an asset if it's on your, if you sitting on it, it's not an asset. So there's three things we got to remember if we're going to win. Three things we got to remember before we're going to win. See, I'm a professor. I used to be a professor. So therefore, this is the way I teach. You ain't going to be able to leave out here and say you ain't learned something. You can say I ain't like that sucker. But you're going to learn something. Lesson number one, love, to win. We got to change or die. Some of y'all been in this business 30 years, some of y'all been in 20 years, some of y'all been in 10 years, some of y'all been in 5, some of y'all been in 1. And I'm convinced some of y'all just don't want to change. I want you my initial training, this is what I got, and this is what it's gonna be. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, this is what I'm gonna do. All the technology stuff, that ain't for me, bro. This is the way I always did it. I ain't going to change. And people running loops around you.